A mysterious man uses the darkness as a safe cover to come out of nowhere, snatch Angela's purse, and run into the woods by the side of the road.
No, don't! It's not worth...
Her companion chases the thief into the woods. There, he converses with the mugger, takes Angela's purse from him, empties the contents, starts looking for what he wants, and scraps the rest of the contents. United States Undersecretary of Defense Michael Bergstrom is devastated to learn that he has tested positive on his recent HIV test. He then calls his family, tells them how much he loves them, and kills himself. A week later in California, one of Cathedral Software's system analysts, Angela Bennett, works from her suburban home and helps a client with his recent video game over the phone. The client is very grateful for Angela's expert solution and offers to take her to dinner, which she declines. Later that day, Angela orders takeout and eats her dinner alone while chatting with like-minded computer wizards online. During the conversation, Angela jokingly describes the type of man she wants and uses it to turn down her online suitors. The next morning, Angela goes to see her mother at the Alzheimer's Institution. She spends some time with her and bids her farewell as she will be vacationing in Mexico in the coming week. That afternoon, as Angela prepares for her much-needed vacation, which starts the next day, she receives a floppy disk from her colleague Dale, whom she's never met, and excitedly dives in while calling him. The two chit-chat for a bit and go on to discuss the game on the disk, named Mozart's Ghost. Dale then guides Angela through the disk and directs her to click on a pi sign at the bottom of the screen, which simultaneously guides her to various secure websites at the same instant. Dale details his suspicion that something deeper must be going on behind this backdoor program and begs to meet with Angela to discuss it further in person. After much hesitation, Angela agrees to meet with Dale the next morning, before her flight. That night, Dale flies his private aircraft to arrive on time for the meeting, but faces some difficulties in mid-air. Shit! The next morning, Angela waits for Dale while packing her bags. After a couple of hours, she calls her immediate boss, Russ, and is devastated to learn of Dale's fate. Having no other option, Angela puts everything aside and goes to the airport to catch her flight to Mexico. After some delay at the airport, her flight starts boarding. In Mexico, Angela relaxes and enjoys herself at a beautiful beach while casually checking her computer and playing Mozart's Ghost every now and then. A few days into her vacation, Angela meets a charming man named Jack Devlin, and the two hit it off. Jack takes Angela to dinner later that evening, and the two spend a pleasant time getting to know each other. Later, the duo goes for a romantic walk on the beach and enjoys a calm night under the stars. A few minutes into their walk, a mugger comes out of nowhere, snatches Angela's purse, and runs into the woods by the beach. Jack chases the thief into the woods. Jack takes Angela on his company boat, where she treats him for the cut on his hands and thanks him for trying to retrieve her purse full of her passports and credit cards. Jack then drives the boat further into the sea and excuses himself to go to the deck below to discreetly retrieve his gun and prepare to kill Angela. However, as he comes back up, Angela comes on to him and the two get intimate. As the night goes on, the duo continue to learn more about each other. A couple of hours later, Angela inadvertently finds Jack's loaded gun in his jacket while he's away, becomes suspicious, and asks him what's going on. Disturbingly, Jack reveals that he was behind the online persona that she turned down a few days prior, snatches the gun, and proceeds to shoot her. Fortunately, Angela had already taken out the bullets. Angela then moves swiftly, knocks Jack out with a champagne bottle, runs around the boat trying to find its keys, and calls for help. To her shock, Angela finds the Mozart's Ghost floppy disk and takes it with her, along with Jack's wallet, before finding her way to the dinghy stowed by the boat. Jack wakes up and rushes to catch up with the frazzled Angela. However, after traveling a few miles, Angela's dinghy hits a rock and capsizes. 3 days later, Angela regains consciousness and is confused to find herself in a hospital bed. She learns that she was rescued by a local fisherman and that the disc has been ruined by sun exposure. Angela takes Jack's wallet, leaves the hospital, and rushes to her hotel room, but is told that their guest by that name has checked out a few days prior and is denied entry at the hotel's reception. As she has no official and legal documents to her name, Angela requests a temporary visa, but is confused when the authorities inform her that a social security number has identified her as Ruth Marks. Angela tries to set the record straight, but realizes that this document is the only option she has to get back to her country. Hence, she signs her name as Ruth Marks and flies back to the U.S. In the U.S. airport, Angela sees that her car is not where she left it and realizes that someone has gone to great lengths to erase her existence. Angela then gets a cab and rides to her house, only to find it emptied out and on sale. She gets inside to see what's going on and meets the real estate agent selling the property. The two argue about the house and the police are called. The police couldn't help Angela as she failed to produce any official documents. They call a neighbor, hoping to corroborate her story, but the neighbor supports the real estate agent's story that the owner of the house has moved out days prior. Angela fails to produce anyone who knows who she is in real life and can support her story. The police officer takes Angela's temporary visa and goes to his car to do a background check on Ruth Marks.
Yeah, we've got Ruth Marks.
The police learn of Ruth Marks' criminal history and proceed to the house to arrest Angela. Angela steals the real estate agent's phone and flees through the back door. Jack sees Angela from afar and follows her in his car. Angela evades capture, hides out in the bushes, calls Cathedral Software, and asks to speak to Russ, but is dismayed to learn that he no longer works there. To her utter shock, Angela learns that an imposter has been put in to replace her at her job. The imposter Angela comes on the phone and orders Angela to give back the disc. Having been backed to the corner, Angela calls her ex-therapist, Dr. Alan Champion, as he is the last person who knows her in real life. Alan rushes to rescue Angela and takes her to a hotel room. There, she tells him everything that happened and asks him to place her mother in a secure institution under a different name. Dr. Allen accepts her request and leaves to make the necessary arrangements and contact Ben, his FBI agent friend, and ask him for help. The next morning, Angela accesses the website she finds in Jack's wallet through the gatekeeper system, and it leads her to the Bethesda Naval Hospital's database. There, she goes through some confidential files and learns that Undersecretary Michael has been misdiagnosed with HIV. Shocked, she logs into her usual online chat rooms to ask if anyone knows what the pi symbol stands for. Cyber Bob explains that the symbol represents the notorious cyber terrorist group known as Praetorians, who was responsible for multiple system failures across many cities in the last few days. Cyber Bob schedules to meet Angela in person the next day at the Santa Monica Pier and explain the matter further. Meanwhile, Jack follows Dr. Allen around as he goes to the pharmacy to refill his medication. A couple of hours later, Dr. Allen comes to visit Angela and accompanies her as she goes to meet Cyber Bob. Jack overhears Angela's conversation with the doctor about Cyber Bob.
Who knows? Maybe when they do my autopsy, I can finally prove that I'm not Ruth Marks.
Dr. Allen drives Angela to her meeting, but unexpectedly collapses during the ride and is taken to the hospital. What pills? What are you talking about?
What pills? What? What are you talking about? Okay, you know what? Get over here. We'll go to the hospital.
After making sure the doctor is okay, Angela leaves the hospital to meet Cyber Bob. Angela gets to the Santa Monica Pier, and as she searches for Cyber Bob amidst the carnival, Jack gets a hold of her and takes her aside to talk to her. Angela then gets to the hospital, and after a few moments, is devastated to learn of his death. Angela takes the doctor's car, and as she drives out of the city, she is chased by highway patrol officers who have been falsely notified that she's driving a stolen car. After a few miles, Angela stops by the side of the road and proceeds to run into the woods and is caught and arrested by the officers. After spending a couple days in jail, Angela is rescued by FBI agent Ben, who apologizes for everything and proceeds to drive her to a safe location. During the drive, Angela figures out that Ben too is an imposter and crashes their car. She then flees the area on foot and spends the night at a local motel, where she hears on the news that the imposter has died in the car crash and that she is the main suspect. The next morning, Angela hitchhikes to Cathedral Systems and discreetly makes her way to the operation room, where she finds a free computer. Using the computer, she figures out who the imposter Angela is and turns on the fire alarm to distract her and everyone else away from their computer. Once everyone evacuates the room, Angela goes to her imposter's computer to learn everything that she can about what's going on and copy it onto a disk. During her search, Angela learns that the giant software company called Gregg's Microsystems, led by its CEO, Jeff Gregg, works with the Praetorians, and that once they sabotage a company system, Jeff sells them the Gatekeeper to secure their system and gains unlimited access to their data through Gatekeeper's back door. She also finds that Jack and the imposter work for the Praetorians. Angela copies this information, disguises herself as a firewoman, and leaves the building undetected, while Jack and the imposter continue looking for her. Jack sees her running through the crowd and follows her to the Moscone Computer Convention Center. Jack and the imposter find her and mock her efforts. Jack then declares that he can enter the FBI's database through the back door of Gatekeeper and erase the incriminating email.
Nothing left. Everything will be destroyed.
Angela successfully manages to get her life back and erase everything they've done to her records. Frustrated, the imposter and Jack chase Angela through the center, and Jack accidentally shoots and kills the imposter. Jack continues chasing Angela, but she attacks him unexpectedly and throws him off of a balcony, fatally injuring him. A couple of days later, the dead imposter is revealed to be the real Ruth Marks on the news, and after reviewing the overwhelming evidence Angela sent, the FBI arrests Jeff. Angela moves back to her house and spends some time gardening with her mother in the backyard. The end. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.